Hi guys and welcome to Carflix. Today we are going on a little adventure. We are going to look at a mystery car, and then after we've done that we are going to be going to start fixing up the RCZ. Now this guy stocks all kinds of different parts for the RCZ. Unfortunately I can't fit it in the car, the bumper or the bonnet, because obviously the RCZ isn't big enough. I've measured it and it just won't fit. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this other car, drive all the way, and then we're going to transfer the bumper and the bonnet off as we do it, as we're there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a bit of an adventure. As you can see, I'm walking the dog right now, little Marley, and once he's walked we're going to go and look at this other car. So without further ado, let's crack on with that video. Right guys, so we've arrived at the car salvage place and we're going to start taking parts off of it now. Here is the donor car. This is the same year, I do believe. It's a 2010, and the guy called Andy has already taken the front bumper off for me, which is brilliant. He's also done the inner wheel arch for me, which is awesome as well. And yeah, I'm going to start jacking mine up, taking the wheels off, taking the bumper and the bonnet off. So let's get cracking. So to make the job easier, I took the front wheels off. So here you can see I'm removing the old splitter, ready for the new one to go on later on. This was just held in by some self-tapping screws. Once that was off, it was now to take out the 8 bolts holding the bumper on from below, and then I could start attacking the bolts on the top. Now it was a case of prying the front part of the bumper off from the middle, and then I could start removing the corners from the bumper off. This was a bit fiddly and I had to keep going between the middle and the edge of the bumper. Once the bumper was free, it was disconnecting the parking sensors and that was off. Now onto the arch lining. This was just a case of removing some clips and then just removing it by wiggling it out. Once that was off, it is on with the new one, and exactly the same but in reverse. Admittedly, this was a lot harder getting it on than actually pulling it off. Once the arch lining was removed, it was now to fit the new bumper, which is exactly the same but in reverse. Not forgetting, of course, to reconnect the fog lights and the parking sensors. Then it was just a case of bolting everything together and making sure the alignment was just right. Next onto the bonnet, which was a 2-man job, and Andy kindly helped me out removing this. It was just 2 bolts either side and then it just came off. And then exactly the same in reverse with a few alignment issues, but we got there in the end. Then back on with all the wheels. Now on the way there, the dog decided he was going to chew the seatbelt, so let's change that out as well. So Andy again kindly offered his expertise, as he'd already taken the seatbelt out for me, and he showed me what to do. It's quite fiddly, but we got there in the end. It was just some clips and some awkward bolts, but yeah, it went in really well, and it's now working without a big bite mark in it. finally back in with the rear bench. So this is what it looks like now. Obviously it's looking a bit weird at the minute because whoever I got this Peugeot bumper off, it's got this horrible Peugeot badge on it and this horrible French flag. It's just not my style, it's not my thing. Also, because I traded my old bumper in, that has gone as part exchange towards this one, so unfortunately I've lost the Transformers badge. It needed changing anyway, had a few stone chips. So what we're going to do, we're going to take off all the stickers off here, and then we're going to temporarily tape all this up, and then we're going to spray paint it black to match the rest of the RCZ. So without further ado, let's crack on with it. Eliana kindly helped me do this because they were really stuck on really tight, so it was a two-man job to get this heated up enough to get these removed. Right, so as you can see now, we've got it all off. We've now left with this residue, but I've got some residue cleaner which we're going to use on here and all here where the Peugeot badge used to be. Once we've cleaned all that, we'll start prepping to get this painted, but let's get all this removed first. Right, so this is the stuff we're going to be using, so let's go and use that now. Right guys, so it's all off, and look how much better that is. It's completely gone, those horrible stickers are out of the way. It's starting to look like it should do again. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to mask all this up, clean it all up, and then we're going to spray all this in gloss black so it matches my theme. It doesn't really matter, this is probably going to get smoothed in the future, that's why I'm not too bothered about how it's going to look now, but at least it'll look better than the horrible chrome. So let's crack on. So first we're using the glass cleaner because that's a natural degreaser, and once we've got all that cleaned on we can start masking up. Here I'm just using some old bin liners that I've cut open to spread over the car to minimise overspray. Right, so it's all done now, it's all ready for paint. So I'm now going to start shaking the can out. I just bought some of this. Just cheap paint. I got it from Home Bargains. It was like £3. It doesn't matter, this is only temporary anyway. I just want to give it that temporary look, so I'm just going to shake this up and then get it sprayed on. So the first coat is always going to be a really light thin coat. And then we're just using a heat gun to speed up the drying process. Then it's pretty much rinse repeat for the rest of the 3 coats. And now it's onto the lacquer, again using thin coats to start with your final coat being nice and thick. Now the conditions weren't perfect, it was a pretty windy day, so it was quite difficult to get a good finish on this lacquer. You can see now I'm going much heavier on the final coat to give it that deep shine, just being careful not to make it run. And finally removing carefully all of the masking tape. So there it is, guys, it's all done, and look how cool that looks now. It's almost back to what it was before. Now that isn't bad for a little quick spray job that's just temporary. I've got a few little marks here and there, but that's something, you know, little bits falling in the paint when you're working outside. Nothing you can do about that, but overall I think it looks really, really cool and almost back to a former self. Another thing that came with this new bonnet were these horrible Peugeot Sport badges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat these up, knock these off, use the same stuff again, and yeah, take these horrible things off. Now these came off super easy. I think the hardest part on this was to actually get the adhesive on because it was quite thick. Now onto the other side, and again this was a little bit harder to get off but still fairly easy. Now's a really good point in the video just to remind you, if you haven't done already, please like and subscribe. I'd really, really appreciate it. I've just got to wait for the splitter to arrive, and then we can fit the splitter, give the whole car a really good wash, and then we can see how she looks after her repair. Right guys, so the car's all clean. We are now ready to start fitting the final touches, and let me show you what I've got to finish it off. This is the splitter I've just bought. I've gone for a different one this time, similar style, but it fitted a little bit differently. These corners kind of like move in and out so you can get the exact shape of your bumper because it is universal. I have got some canards. I'm not sure if these are going to fit. I may have to heat these up. And I've also gone for some new rear spats if we get time today, because I'm not really happy with those corner ones. But let's get cracking and get these things fitted. So what I'm doing here is just fitting the centre section, finding the centre of the bumper, and then kind of aligning it using just a few bolts. Right guys, so I just want to show you quickly what I've done so far. I think the best thing is to try and make this fit as flat as possible to the underside of here. I was going to use blocks, but it just didn't seem right. So what I've done is I've put these on now, and then what I'm going to do next, because these are switchable, you can see that, is align these the best I can and then start bolting them in. If you look underneath, I've only put 3 in so far. That's just so I can get a rough shape, and then I'll start strengthening it with extra ones going in so this thing won't fly off. But yeah, I'm now gonna fit the corner pieces and see how I get on. So here I'm just fitting one screw and then swinging it into the position where the centerpiece is. Now this revealed that I'd actually put the centerpiece in too far out, so I had to readjust it by moving it back just about an inch. I had to put the front part a little bit further in because these weren't marrying up at all. Because if you look, when I swing it in now, it does sit a lot better. And the way I did it was, I put this little screw at the back so I know when it's flush, and then I can just swing it until it fits in position. And it does look really good like that. I'll probably have to put another pinstripe just here, because as you can see I've already put the pinstripes on. But I'm now going to start securing everything. So onto the other side now. I basically copied what I did on the other side. One bolt in the corner near the wheel arch, and then swung it round and mated it with the centerpiece until I was happy. And then once I was happy with that, it was just a case of putting all the bolts in, securing it really tightly to every part of that front splitter. Right guys, for the next thing I'm going to fit on now, it's starting to get a bit dark, is the canards. Now what I'm going to do is, what I've been doing is sticking some sticky back tape onto them and then fitting them on the side until I'm happy with the result. And this is what I've come up with. I'm super happy with the angle on that. It looks super cool and it flares it out. So what I'm going to do now, I'm not going to bore you showing how to stick and screw things on. Now I've got that angle, is I'm going to go and stick them on the other side
tomorrow.
Right guys, so you join me the next day. I basically threw these on last night. I stuck them on, got them where I wanted them, and then whatever bolts I could find, I kind of just put it on. That's why they're all different colours. But I managed to go on Amazon and get some proper like 10mm ones, which look pretty chunky, but they're also black, so these won't rust, and they'll also look a lot better than these. Like I said, these were just temporary, just so I could get me to work and back. So I'm now gonna take all these old screws out, put the new ones in, and I'll show you the effect after I've done. So what I'm doing here is taking out the old temporary bolts and putting in these new 10mm black bolts. I'm following the contours of the curvature of the canards and then just going with the flow to reduce that gap. Right, they're the front ones on. Now admittedly I probably put too many in there as it looks. But the reason I've put so many in is because to get it to mate against the bumper properly, and that's the best I can do. It does look a little bit unsightly from this angle, but wait until you see it on different angles. So if we come away here now, look at that. That just looks so much better. I love these things. A lot of people don't like them. I do. I don't know if it's in my head or what, but I definitely notice I've got a bit more front end grip on the slower corners. I don't know if that's my imagination or if it's the fact that these things are actually working, but I really like these. I think they make the front of the car really wide, gives that illusion of being wider than it should be. That's what I like about these things. So yeah, I'm probably going to put a few more screws just in there. You can't really see them from this angle, but yeah, on reflection they probably are a little bit bigger than I'd wanted, but these were the other ones I could get. These are 10mm as opposed to 8. I might just put one more there, but yeah, I suppose it gives that race look as well, you know, if you've got bolts in the side. It looks pretty cool. But anyway, this angle looks great, I'm happy with it. They're all going to match. I'm now going to do this side. If you look here, you see the gap. I'm having to put more in so it closes the gap between there, so just bear with me. Right guys, so I finished it. I think I had to go a little bit OTT though. You're not going to see this, but if you look under here, what I've done is, just so I get that curvature around the bumper, I've put loads. It kind of goes with the look that I'm going for, you know, that kind of Mad Max style. But if you look, I haven't had to use as much on the bottom, but I have on the top. Now a lot of you won't like this, please comment below what you think, but it's not about this bit, it's about the finished look. Because you're not going to be looking at all those bolts, you're going to be looking at the stance. If you look at the stance of this now, I just think it looks absolutely awesome. It gives that wide arch stance that you really need. And if you look now, I've got no gaps in there at all because it's flush with the side of the bumper. Same with this side. I ended up putting loads more bolts in just to get the curvature, and just because the black, I think it kind of blends in as well, unless you're really looking for it. Obviously I know this isn't everyone's cup of tea, but let's face it, they're never going to come off. These aren't going to go flying into someone's car or anything like that. They're on there for good now. Obviously the sticky back plastic just wouldn't cut it, so this is extra safety, extra curvature, and if you take your eye away from the bolts for a minute, you can actually see the look I'm going for with this. It just looks, in my opinion, really aggressive and really kind of like race, and that's what I love. And yeah, if you look at this now, I think it looks super cool, and it's definitely the look that I've wanted ever since I lost them in the accident. So yeah, I've done those now, front splitters on, starting to look really good look. I've put some pinstriping on there as well and around the bottom, and it all kind of blends in with the look that I'm going for. Now I've just ordered some new side skirts which are going to be arriving soon, because these are nice but they're not gloss black like the fronts. So what I'm going to do with these, I'm going to take these off because they've started to crack at the back. I think these are because of stone chips, which isn't great. So I'm going to remove these and put some better ones on. Also, you heard me mention before, I'm not happy with these anymore. They're a little bit damaged here. They're a little bit flimsy. I'm also going to take all this off because if you look, all my pinstripes was cracked. This wasn't good stuff at all. So these are going to get removed, and these are going to get removed and changed with the pinstripe on the front, and then we'll see what it looks like when it's finished.
Day 2.
Right then guys, on to the finishing touches of the RCZ. I was never happy with my old ones because they weren't gloss black, so I'm going for these new gloss black ones. I'm going to unscrew the old one, measure it against the new one, cut the new one, and then fit the new one, and I think it's going to look really cool. So the first thing we need to do is get the side of the car up in the air so we can start removing the old side skirts. I did this by jacking the car up and putting axle stands under one side of the chassis rail. Then I attempted to remove the old screws from the old side skirts. Right, unfortunately I've had to pull these out because all the heads are just rotted out. So I've had to go to just pulling them, but it doesn't matter, these are going in the bin. So let's go on to the other side. Right, so the old side skirts are off, and the good thing about having some old side skirts is I can now get my new ones, put them against them so I know where to cut now. So what I'm going to do now is cut the new side skirts to the same length. I'll probably also cut out where the jacking points are going to be, because this is the problem I had with the old ones. Let's cut them out once they were on the car. So I'll probably take a chunk out as well. Same at the back as well. So let's start cutting. So for this I used a Dremel with a circular cutting blade. Right, so I've cut them to shape. I'm not sure I'm going to fit them yet because I've got to kind of position them where I want them, and then maybe I fit one piece at a time. I don't know yet, I haven't decided. Also I need to cut out where my jacking points are going to be. So bear with me while I figure all this out. I loosely fitted the back piece in the middle where I thought I wanted it, and then what I've done is this will allow me to then turn this in or out. I did the same with this, kind of bolted it up with one bolt and adjusted the position till I was happy with it, and now I'm happy with that position. I can now draw out where my jacking points are and cut those out each side, and then what I'll do, I'll come back, drill it back to where it was and put more securing bolts in, and then that'll be solid then. So that's how I've done it, and that's how I'm going to do it on this side and the other. So now I'm just fitting all the securing bolts now that I'm happy with the position, and I did this on the other side as well. Right guys, so it is the final piece of the puzzle. I'm going to be putting the most famous part of this car back on, and that is the Transformers badge, the Autobot one to be exact. So we're going to finish this car for good because it's been a bit of a roller coaster of emotions. I love this car. I could have never seen it go to an auction or anything. So let's finally whack this on and get this car finished. So here I'm going to be using some good old dental floss. Get this out of the packet. Heard a lot of good stuff about this. We'll soon find out if this thing works. So there it is, coming out. Right, let's give it a whirl. Let's get behind this badge. And I guess slowly does it. So this actually worked really well and better than I even thought it would, and the only thing that did happen every so often is when it got hot it would then snap. So you're going to go through a few pieces of this stuff just to get it round the back of the emblem. Right, so I'm back with some pry tools. I'm going to try and get this off as smoothly as I can. Oh, without damaging. Oh, here we go, here we go, here we go. Well, that was super easy. Look at that. So yes, it does work. It really does. And you never know. This could come in handy for something. Right, next thing. I'm going to get that special stuff that I use, which is like the adhesive remover, so I'm going to go and get that now. Right, let's leave that for 5 minutes. Right, now something else that's really been bugging me while we're waiting for the adhesive. So obviously this wheel got badly damaged. All I've been doing, I had a bit of tape on there. Let's peel this one off as well so you can see how bad it is. But obviously, for me to get these wheels fixed professionally, I'm gonna have to acquire a set of wheels just to get me around. So that's not an option at the minute because I use this car to commute. So if we just get this off, I'll show you the full extent of the damage. There we are, it's really bad. But what I've had a bit of an idea is, I had some black paint just knocking around, some touch-up paint, it's black gloss. So I thought, rather than have tape on there, why don't I just put some of this stuff on? And then at least it'll cover some of the damage and you won't be able to see it. So that's what I'm going to do now. So all I'm doing here is touching up the scrapes that happened just to hide it so it's not an eyesore, until I get round to eventually finding someone that can do a decent custom job on these wheels, which I did myself. But you know what, you're never going to be able to get it as good as a professional. So until I find someone, this is just going to have to do for the time being. A lot better than it was, guys. I'll probably keep this. Oh god, look at my hands. Great success.
Great success!
Just found this. This is like a scraper tool, but it's like a plastic razor blade. Shouldn't damage the paint. Now I have no idea what this emblem was stuck on with, but whatever it was super sticky and really hard to get off. So I had to use it a few times just to get all that adhesive off. You can see I'm really struggling to get this stuff off, and in the end I just had to do my best, because I did actually realise that I'm going to be covering most of this up with the new emblem anyway. So I've just stuck this on. Something I did realise is 2 screw holes here. We can actually screw it on, but I don't think I'm going to bother because I think it'll just look gash. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to stick as much of this down as I can. Ready, and then obviously I'll peel it. I've got it to go on really well. So yeah, let's just do this. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. You know what? Actually, this works well. That's going to stay on really well. That's not coming off. That's not coming off at all. You know what? I'm actually happy with that. I'm actually more happy than I was before with it. It's not too in your face. The other one was massive. We've pretty much finished. So, if we finished, I think now's the time to do some cinematic shots.
Autobots, roll out!
And there she is, guys. She's completely finished. Thank you so much for supporting me and getting me through this mishap. I was absolutely gutted, but everything's worked out in the end. Just a bit of hard work, a bit of research, and you can get your pride and joy back on the road again. Thanks ever so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. See you on the next one.